Hello and welcome. I'm Michelle Paver, and we're going out live on Facebook and YouTube. Sadly, not Twitch TV tonight, something wrong with the connection. Links to all of those on my website, michellepaver.com/chat. And to join in live chat while we're on air, you can do either of two things. You can go to the live chat area on YouTube and just start typing, and our friendly resident elf may just pick it up, and he may even remember to tell me about it. Or you can tweet at hashtag Torak, that's Torak, for those of you who don't know the Wolf Brother books, and we'll catch up now and then in the programme with your live chat questions and comments. So I hope you're all well, wherever you are in the world. And I hope that if possible, you're able to and willing to get your COVID jabs. That's incredibly important to fight the pandemic. As have I. I'm waiting for my booster. So what are we actually going to do tonight? Well, first of all, I'll tell you about another amazing Reddit competition. And then I'll tackle the first part of your really interesting questions and comments. And in between, I'll catch up with some of your live chat, and then we'll have part two of the questions and comments. Oh, and at the end, I thought I'd show you the Wolf Bane proof. Mine landed in my postbox the other day, which was very exciting. And I'll explain what a proof is, and I might even show you inside it briefly. So first, a new competition by the great and wonderful people at the, let me read this, the Wolf Brother discussion subreddit. You may remember they had a wonderful competition to design clan tattoos. Now this other competition, this next one, if you like art and design, I think this is for you. Because the idea is, what you have to do is design a new cover for any of the Wolf Brother books. Now that could be the 6 original Chronicles of Ancient Darkness books. That could be Viper's Daughter. It could be Skin Taker. It could be Wolf Bane, even though you haven't read it. It could be an entirely new Wolf Brother book, with a title that you've made up that I haven't even written. Just as long as, steer clear of the original or the actual covers, so that something original. And what are the prizes? Well, we've got 3 rather cool prizes. There we are. Where's my copy? Yes, this is Wolf Brother, but a Wolf Brother as you've probably never seen it before, because this was back in 2012. The publishers, Orion, had their 20th birthday, and they had this idea that they would do special editions of the 20 best-selling books they'd ever sold. And Wolf Brother was one. And the reason it's got a China wolf on it is a little bit complicated, but in the UK, certainly, if it's your China wedding anniversary, that's your 20th wedding anniversary. So they thought, oh, we'll have a China wolf. It had to be explained to me too. Anyway, the closing date is the end of November. I'm guessing that's midnight on the 30th of November. And to enter, all you need to do is go onto the Wolf Brother discussion subreddit, and there's a shortcut to get you onto that, which is, there we go, r.wolfbrother.com. So that's all you need to do. Good luck with that if you are minded to enter. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes up, because I know you're all frantically talented and imaginative. So now, without further ado, we move on to part 1 of Ask Michelle Anything. So let's just see. Yes. Oh, great. I never quite know what Elf is going to come up with. There we are. Thank you. Well, the first one is, yes, this is from Briar. Please, Michelle, this is just comments. Don't stop writing the Chronicles of Ancient Darkness. They have changed my life. Don't stop. Well, I'll do. I'm afraid I will after Wolfbane. I'm sorry. Be warned. One from Sue Howes. Very, very nice. She's just actually finished. She loved Dark Matter, but she finished Wakenhurst, and there's something so special about it. Thank you for that. I'm really pleased, because it means quite a lot to me too. Now, there's also one from Enzo, who is in Uruguay. I'm right about that. So he read Chronicles back in 2016. And while waiting for the Spanish edition, I decided to read Dark Matter, and lovely tradition. Every winter, which is our summer in the UK, he reads a book set at the poles. How fantastic is that? What a great idea. And he loved Dark Matter, so gripping. One of the few books that actually made me uneasy, and he's not easily scared. And he also wanted to thank us for doing these videos. Thank you for that. I'm glad you watched them. And yes, I hope you enjoy Thin Air. So thank you for that. I should say, with all these questions, I can't read every single one of them. I've had to just select them because we get a lot of them. And I can't read every single word of the questions I do feature, but not online. But bear in mind, do be assured, I do read every single one of your comments and questions. So now we have one from Roshini Srinivas. I hope I pronounced that right. I've never read a book I loved as much as I loved Thin Air and Dark Matter. Survivalist horror. I've never heard that term before, but it's great. It's my absolute favourite genre. And she asked, Roshini, I don't know if it's what gender, if you had any favourite books in the genre. Now, I had a good think and I had a look at my bookshelves, Roshini. I don't know of any, that doesn't mean they don't exist. I don't know of any fiction in that genre, certainly not that I've loved, but there are two non-fiction books which I might be able to interest you in. One, it's an old book, but it's brilliant. It's called The White Spider by Heinrich Harrer, and he was one of the people who climbed the Eiger for the first time, which is so it's really, he knew what he was talking about. And the other one, which you may have heard of or even read, is non-fiction. It's called Touching the Void by Joe Simpson, who got into an appalling mountaineering accident and survived. And he's also an amazing writer. The two don't always go together, but if you haven't read it, it's brilliant. The film is amazing as well. Really one of my favourites. So I hope that gives you something to go on. Now let me just catch up so I don't lose my way. We've got a little clutch of questions about availability. Emma is a year 5 and 6 teacher at Roman B Primary School. Hello, Emma. Asking whether we've got an activity pack for Wolf Brother, like the ones we had for Viper's Daughter. Well, you would think there would be one, wouldn't you, Emma? To my knowledge, Orion, who published Wolf Brother, never got around to doing one. You would think they would after over 15 years of it being taught in schools, but no. Unlike Head of Zeus, my wonderful publishers, for Viper's Daughter and Skin Taker and Wolfbane, they've done 2 brilliant activity packs. So I'm sorry about that. I can only suggest, it's great that you're thinking of doing one yourself. I can only suggest that maybe you try to cannibalize some of the bits from the activity packs for Viper's Daughter or Skin Taker. They're really good. You might be able to adapt them. Anders Jessen says, hey, and Viper's Daughter, is it planned to translate into other languages? Your other books are in Danish. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, at the moment, not many. I don't have copies of my overseas versions for Viper's Daughter or Skin Taker. I think they're being published in Swedish and in Spanish. There might be others, so I'm sorry about that. The bottom line for all of you, because there's Jakob Heikel, who wants to know about German copies for Viper's Daughter. And there's also, let me see, sorry about the rustling, Sue Warner wants to know when Skin Taker will be published in the US. Again, not at the moment, we don't know, but the best thing to do if you're in a country and it's not published in your language is write to the publishers of chronicles in your country. And there is a list. I think it's on the Ask page when you click on to make a comment on wolfbrother.com. That gives you a list of your publishers in your country, and then you can write to them and say, why don't you publish these books? That would help. Mike Amos, hello again. We're not showing, we've got a lot of, I've read your comments, sorry you're worried about Wolf in Wolfbane. You should be. I'll just mention a couple of things. I think you've been trying to get onto Amazon, pre-order Wolfbane on Amazon Italy. And at one point it wasn't available. Elf reliably informs me that it is now on Amazon Italy. I hope that's right. And I'm also really glad that you love the sort of little ribbon bookmark in the hardback, because that's one of those gorgeous little details that the wonderful design people at Head of Zeus produce, and I love it too. So that's great. Now, a few more questions. Yes, television. Now let's see. We've got something from Simon, who actually is an IP intellectual property lawyer. Was just after I was at our firm, and he named one of his children Renn. What an honour! Thank you very much, Simon. Sorry I missed you at Simmons and Simmons. Now in Canada. And you all seem to be quite keen on the Wolf Brother books. I'm so glad, and I hope you enjoy, the books the later books when you get them. You've got lots of questions, but you are wondering. You have one wonderful comment. You say, "I had forgotten how the COAD books grip you and spin you forward like rapids on a river." Isn't that lovely? Thank you very much for that. Yes, and you are just the one question is, are we going to see a Wolf Brother movie series? It's hard to believe the opportunity has not been snapped up already. It has, Simon, several times, and then it's been sort of spat out again. And this is what happens with film. So, but, we'll see. A question from Lydia, who's also a great fan. She's studying costume construction. She's 22 now, and is asking if she could, good question. She's asking if she might be able to help make the costumes for the show. It's not at that stage yet. Well done for asking. If it were, I could pass your name along to the producers, but I'm afraid we're not at that stage yet. And similarly, Oliver wants to know if there's any update on the TV shows. Well, there isn't at the moment, I'm afraid. These things always take longer, partly because people sort of tend to leave one company and join another or something. You will hear it. The first I know of it, you will hear it on the website and or on one of these programs. So thanks for asking. I think we've got 3 more questions before we go to live chat. Gaia Drysin Moss, lovely name, loves the Chronicles series, but is short-sighted. As am I, very short-sighted. I'm wearing contact lenses, otherwise I wouldn't be able to read. And she wonders what would have happened in Torak's world to someone like us who is short-sighted. Well, it's a good question. I mean, I think we would be hampered. We wouldn't be able to hunt very well. I mean, unlike Renn, who's got great eyesight, I would be not great at shooting with the bow and arrow. I'd be able to set traps and snares and dig pits for reindeer. So that sort of hunting, and fishing, fine. That sort of hunting we'd be pretty good at. So we wouldn't just be, staying in camp doing the messy things like scraping hides, but I fear that some of that would be happening. I don't think we'd be left to survive on our own, though, because we probably have other skills. Just because we're short-sighted, I'm a pretty good storyteller. So there are lots of other things we could do. And I think, everybody had infirmities in the Stone Age, so they would have to sort of adapt and help each other. Great question, though. Bethany is 11. And will you be doing any more Wolf Brother books after Skin Taker? Yes, Bethany. Wolfbane is the last one after Skin Taker. So that is actually already written. And Bethany, I think you actually wrote about this and I forgot to answer it, but the other pups, since we think only Pebble survived the Thunderstar and Skin Taker, what happened to the other pups? Well, Bethany, you need to reread chapter 2, particularly page 10. It's not good news. But have a read of that again, and that will answer your question. When you're writing a biography about me and my series of books, what would you recommend I write about you? Well, that is the point of homework, Bethany, but you'll find lots of detail on my website, particularly wolfbrother.com. If you go into the cave, there's all sorts of things in there on the website that you'll be able to find. And finally, is this Mole? I think that's Mole. You're really interested in the culture and the deities surrounding your Chronicles of Ancient Darkness. Can you advise me what topics or where to focus my research? to keep it as close to Torak's experience as possible. Well, briefly, and I'm so glad you enjoy the books. Briefly, Mole, I mean, it depends where they're set, but these books are set in northern Scandinavia. So I've looked at Sami cultures and Inuit cultures particularly. So I think topics, perhaps consider clothing. I mean, I just had a look at my bookshelves. One book that I don't know where you are in the world, but this is a useful book, Arctic Clothing. It's a British Museum publication, and it's very, very useful. Gives you a sort of sense of how they go about things. There's also a brilliant series, which is quite old. It's 1999, called the series is Myth and Mankind. It's a Time Life series, and they have different volumes on different cultures throughout the world. And this is one called Spirits of the Snow, which I actually picked up in a secondhand bookshop about 15 years ago, and it's fantastic for getting inside the minds of hunter-gatherer peoples. I've also done a lot of work on the First Nations and tribes of the Pacific Northwest. So the Haida, the Tlingit, the Kwakwaka'wakw, I mean, the names are wonderful. So that should give you a starter. So clothes, how they use resources, folklore, incredibly important because that shows you what they believed. And then one thing will lead to another. So I think we can catch up with some live chat now. Can we not? Elf, if we've got anything. Yes, you've read a proof. Yes, Empire of Books is one of the lucky few who's read a proof of Wolfbane. A proof is an advance copy in book form. It still has mistakes in it and the odd typo, and it doesn't have all the pictures, but it's sort of in book form, so you can send it out to reviewers and things. So Empire, and yes, the COED branded tissues I mentioned would definitely have come in handy. Yep. But I'm glad I knocked this one out of the park. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ryan. I'm glad. Now, what else have we got? I'm going to have, you're going to have, okay. Well, we'll see about having words, but, I'm not changing a word. There we go. Spencer Mason, any book adaptations in the works? Well, we're hoping for a TV series, but we'll have to see. These things take a long time and there are various stages, so we're not there yet. Fingers crossed. I'll certainly say so. I love the Wolf Brothers series. This is Gaia, my absolute favourite. Thank you for inspiring me. I'm very glad. I'm delighted. I've just been reading a book about sort of spreading one's influence through the world. That not in a sort of nasty, powerful way, but that's the only thing we can leave behind, really, apart from children, which I haven't got. So that's lovely. Chanel, so pleased to join in here. I won a writing competition you held about 15 years ago. Brilliant. And met you. One of the best experiences, and your books have always inspired me. Oh, that's fantastic. And I hope I pronounced your name right, but that's wonderful. I hope you're still writing. That's great to know. Excellent. Oh, a lovely picture of a wolf. Speaking of publishers, how did you get in touch with your first publisher after you wrote Wolf Brother? Actually, I'd only written 6 chapters because I was in the middle of writing a grown-up book. So I wrote 6 chapters of this inconvenient but very pressing book which was going to be called Wolf Brother. And then my agent sent those 6 chapters out to a few publishers, and some of them got back and said, "Oh, can we have a chat with her?" So I spent a week going round and talking to various publishers, and they were interviewing me, but I was interviewing them. Because you can tell a lot when you walk into a publisher's place. And I knew at once that it was going to be Fiona Kennedy at Orion, as she then was. She's now at head of Zeus, because she just clicked and she knew what I was trying to do. And she's been my wonderful publisher and editor ever since for all 9 books. So, Callum, yes. Last one, this section. When you were writing Dark Matter, at what point did you realise that Jack Miller was gay? As a gay man, yes. That's really interesting. The first draft, I didn't. I was actually going to kill the dog in Dark Matter. And then I realised that that's not going to be really tragic enough. And then I thought about how I could really make things tragic, and that's when I realised what had been there underneath, but my subconscious hadn't quite surfaced to that extent, and then it needed very, very little rewriting to bring it out, and that's when you always know that something's been there all the time. So that's not a spoiler, but I'm so glad that you were moved by that. Because what a nasty thing for me to do, to kill, I don't want to include a spoiler, but you know what I mean, to deprive someone of the love of their life. But it does work, doesn't it? Thank you for that. Now we're going back to questions, I think, because yes, time is running on. Danny Drake, just about to buy my latest for your daughter's birthday. Thank you. I'm afraid I'm not going to be doing any public signings. I've got a 90-year-old mother. I have to be really careful about not catching COVID, even though I've had all the jabs. Parisa, and I'm not even going to try to say your surname. Yes. You've translated Volume 1 into Persian. So congratulations and thank you. But you want to publish it legally. Thank you for that. And I do appreciate that, yes, there are many people who could benefit from this. The only way to do it is to go through my publishers, please. The details are on my contacts page, the same one you used to post that contact. It'll be Orion for Wolf Brother. So please contact them because contractually it has to be through them if at all possible. Good luck and thank you. And now we have Yashika. Yes, what was your most favorite place you visited and why? Oh goodness, anywhere in the Arctic. I loved Białowieża National Forest in Poland because it's one of the last bits of primeval forest, and under the sea when I was swimming with wild killer whales. That'll do for starters. Mike Patterson, a question from Blackman class, Southgate Primary. What inspired you to write Wolf Brother? That would take another whole program to explain. But if you go to wolfbrother.com and then go into the cave and then go to something called Why I Wrote Wolf Brother, you'll find the whole story. Suffice to say, it involves me when I was a kid and I was dead keen on wolves and the Stone Age. And then when I grew up, I had a really scary encounter with a bear. But yeah, wolfbrother.com, cave, then Why I Wrote Wolf Brother. Dominic has an interesting one. Yes, you've just read Chronicles and you're interested in the Soul Eater, in Soul Eater when Renn gets a zigzag tattoo. Actually, I think she gets it from Tanujak, the White Fox Clan mage. What does it look like? Well, I didn't have much time, but I did a quick drawing. Now look, those are solid lines. The tattoo would be in dotted lines. But it would have taken me too long to draw. So it'll be something like that. So quite a free design, but it's on her wrists. Is it from indigenous tribes? Yes, many indigenous tribes and cultures would use zigzags. It's one of the common signs, but I couldn't find a picture in the time I had. Sasha wants to know. Yes, Sasha lives in New Zealand, near the Fiordland National Park. I'm incredibly envious, Sasha. And you want to know if I would consider or are considering any queer characters in the world of Chronicles. Well, I'm really glad you asked me this because there is a character who is gay or queer in Chronicles. And I knew this from the beginning when that character first walked into my head. But you don't always get the chance to tell everything about a character, particularly with those books, because they're quite plot-driven. And to my annoyance, I didn't in the first 6 books. It just wasn't the right place. It would have stuck out too much. But there's more of a chance with these last 3 books, particularly Wolfbane. I'm being very cagey. I don't want to give things away. So you're going to have to wait until Wolfbane. But then I think you'll look back and you'll think, oh, yeah. I think you'll be pleased. And finally, we have a lovely question from Peter Doyle. What is the oldest man-made thing you own? And can you tell us a little bit about it? There we go. And he says, George Monbiot, the environmentalist, was a flint knife found on the dredging pile on the banks of the River Tame. Well, I don't have anything quite as amazing as that, but I do have some flint, of course. I didn't find these, but these are some Flint Arrowheads. Now, they're really small. That's why I'm showing them in their case. But you don't need big ones in the Mesolithic. They tended to make them small, and they were quite deadly. I also have, so that's about Torak's time. This is a Flint Arrowhead. Sorry, not Arrowhead, axe head from Torak's time, 6,000 years ago. Now, I always get this muddled up because it's backwards, but that's the cutting edge. And this is the side which would have been, mounted on a stick or a piece of antler. And if you can see, it's thicker in the middle. I'm trying to hold it. Yeah, there we go. So it's actually quite heavy. And it exactly fits my hand. The way to measure a flint, an axe head, is it should go from pretty much from the bottom of the heel of your hand to the tip of your middle finger. And well, my hand's a little bit bigger, but it's sort of my weight. But the actual, I think this is the oldest thing, is something that just looks like a pebble, but it's not. It's got a flat, can you see it sort of flat there? And that's because it was a grinder for grinding grain or nuts or bones, anything like that. It's a grinder. And actually, I'm holding it and it feels really nice in my right hand. It was obviously fitted for a right-handed person. It was worn away after many years. I'm actually left-handed. It doesn't feel as nice. Now, this came from South Africa, or Central Africa, rather, Malawi, where my dad was. So it could well be older than 6,000 years. I just don't know. I'm not an archaeologist. So who knows how old this is? There we go. Thank you very much for asking those. I think we've got, yes, now, before we have live chat, I was going to show you the Wolfbane proof. There we go. That's Wolfbane, which is coming out in the spring. And this is the proof. This is the first time I've seen it in book form. I can even read you the sort of introduction, the blurb, as it were. This may be on Amazon, but not read by me, so it's quite brief. The end of winter is a perilous time when ice rots and frozen rivers wake. Wolf is adrift at sea, trapped, far from his pack, and hunted by an ice demon intent on devouring his souls. While Wolf battles hunger, loneliness, and the monsters of the deep, Torak and Renn must find him before the demon can, or lose their beloved pack brother forever. There we go. And as I said, this proof is sort of an advanced copy which is sent off to reviewers. It doesn't have all the pictures, but it has a few. Jeff Taylor's wonderful illustrations. So I'll give you a sneak preview. There you can see on the front, on that page, that's Wolf running. From what? You'll have to wait and find out. Because a lot of it takes place by the sea. There's quite a lot about the sea and the coast. Those are some wonderful oyster catchers, some of my favourite seabirds. I love the noise they make. And then there's another one of Wolf running. Very, very much. Oops, I better not show you too much or you'll be able to read the words. But yeah, there we go. That's the Wolfbane proof. So I thought that would give you a sneak preview. Now, in the last remaining minute or so, if we've got any live chat, and Jeff Taylor, by the way, has completely outdone himself for the pictures. They are just stunning. Quite amazing. Oh, I'm glad we're getting some comments there. You love it. That's good. Yes. Hello. I love your books. Wonderful. Dan, thank you very much. Have we got any questions? Or I'm trying to write a COE like book, but I only have the prologue. Now, this is not Bart Visser. It's Abel, and you're using your father's computer, aren't you? Yes. Hello, Abel. Well, good luck. Good luck for that. Doesn't matter. A lot of when I was your age, you don't have to finish books. Just have fun writing it. So if Elf has saved, oh, thank you. Yeah, no, yes, for the pictures, they are utterly beautiful. Now, Elf, you haven't got any sort of a secret stash that you're going to tell me about after the programme is ended, have you? Yes. Elf is panicking, but so can you read the first sentence, says Tim. All right. I'll read you the first sentence. Why not? The wolves have no idea that the demon is watching. But that's all you're getting. I would be so tempted because I like the beginning of that. What book do you wish you'd written? Oh, what book do I wish I'd written? Do you know, there aren't other books that I wish I'd written. I mean, there are books that are massively better than anything I could write. But I've never, because that would be like saying I wish I'd be a different person. And while I'm not, I've got my problems and everything, I don't really wish I was a different person. It's an interesting question. I'll probably think of something afterwards, but I have read every single one and I love them. Dan, thank you so much. Wolf Pug, interesting. Gennaro, any plans on writing new horror or gothic novels? I would love to, but I need an idea. And I have to say the pandemic and whatever has been playing a bit of havoc with my unconscious. I haven't had any ideas. So I'm paying a lot of attention to my dreams and hoping something will come. But, you can't rush these things. I would love to, yeah. NC's just got a tattoo of Bone Harpoon, the one that appears on the book. Oh, brilliant. Fantastic. As long as you're the appropriate age, but I'm sure you are. Congratulations. Can you read the first chapter? No, I can't. I'm afraid I can't. I'd love to, particularly that first scene, because it really came. But thank you, Tim, and thank you for asking. You don't ask, you don't get. Are you planning to translate Skintaker and Viper's Daughter to Slovak? I would hope so, but it depends on a Slovak publisher coming forward and saying, yes, we'll publish. And so far, a lot of them are waiting. I think they're waiting for the TV series or something. Help, there's a soul eater in chat. Surely not. Surely not. Goodness. Thank you for the answer. It's fascinating how writers discover things about their characters as they're writing. You're quite right. You're quite right. And I had done a biography of Jack before I wrote, but it's really strange. But as I said, when a change to a character or it's easy to bring something about, then it's been there from the beginning. It was a very satisfying change to bring out. First time leaving a message, Evangeline. Thank you for writing COAD. They've been incredible to read. Getting me through the last 15 plus years. Yikes, that sounds like a bit tough. Well, 15 plus years. Yeah, if you're 15, it's tough. Hoping my next tattoo is something COAD based. Oh, I hope so too. That's brilliant. And well done for coming on. Jenny, my brother hates reading, but I got him to read the Wolf Brother books. Fantastic. Well, I hope that leads him on to other things, because once you get the knack, being in a book is great. It really is. I don't know how many more we are because it's 33 minutes. I don't want to run on too long, Elf, but if we got any more Empire books. You always seem so nice, but you're really so evil. You are quite right. You are quite right. Thank you. Yes, my plan works. I seem nice. But in reality, all writers have to be evil because they put their characters through a lot. So on that lovely comment from Empire of Books, I think we're going to have to wrap it up. I just want to thank Elf for doing, aka Peter, for doing, putting the show together and everything. Thanks all of you for your wonderful questions and comments. Keep them coming. michellepaver.com/ask. Fill in the form and I'll answer as many as I can. The next time you can keep up to date with me on, let me get this right, Twitter at Michelle Paver and on YouTube and Instagram. And in the meantime, goodbye until the next time, which will be nearer Christmas. Stay safe and happy reading. Hey!